Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Councilmen podcast. This is episode 11, and for today, we will be talking about the Schmoedown, the movie trivia Schmoedown that is, and I'll be ranking the 5 live shows. We have 5 live shows in the movie trivia Schmoedown as of date, including the free for all that just dropped for the public last Friday, I believe, and I'll be ranking all those in my own personal preference decision. And for today, my name is Albert Wiradharma. I am your host. And if you're a avid listener, you know that we usually have either all four of us, three of us, or at least two of us between me, Arik, Kelvin, and Teguh. But as for today, it'll be me on my own. And if this is your very first time listening, welcome to the Councilman Podcast. Hope you enjoy it. And the reason why I'm alone for this one is, first of all, is scheduling issues. As you all know, or you might not know, we all live in 4 different countries. Well, 3 different countries technically. Kelvin and Teguh is both in Japan. Sorry. And due to that, we have some scheduling issues most of the time. And also, I planned this horribly because, as you all know, we have a bi-weekly schedule of releasing our podcast once every 2 weeks. And I thought we were supposed to have something released for next week, but turns out, based on our schedule, we're supposed to have something released on this week. And we sort of already planned the one that's for next week, which I will tease at the end of the episode, so you guys should stick around for that. But because of that, we don't have a content for this week. So I feel bad, and I decided, you know what, I'm gonna do it on my own. Let's see how it's all done, because I know some people have done like solo podcasting. One in particular that I want to shout out is a Schmoedown competitor who you might know as the Outlaw, John Roca. He has the Outlaw Nation podcast, and he does podcasting on his own when he first started off. So I always wonder, is it difficult? Is it not? Right now, I believe it's already 2 minutes in, and I'm already struggling to form words because I need a drink. And talking on my own all this long might be kind of tough. But hey, you know what? I put myself on this challenge. Let's see if I can do it. And yeah, let's just get down to business. As I told you earlier, this is going to be all Schmoedown related. And if you know me from my YouTube channel, if you're watching on YouTube, or if you're listening, if you know me from my YouTube channel and Jaw Movies, I occasionally make Schmoedown content. And when I say occasionally, I mean in the last year, 2018, I feel like most of my content was Schmoedown related aside from other movie stuff. And I haven't been able to make that much in 2019. I think my only content for the Schmoedown has been the reaction to Paul Oyama and his match against Brendan Meyer, which, if you see the free for all, Brendan Meyer did a fantastic job. Paul also did nail several perfect rounds, which I'm very happy for both of them because Paul, if you, I never really met Paul personally, but I believe he's a really great guy in person. I wish I could meet him in person. He's from IU and transferred to California, I believe. So even though we never really met, I always feel like, oh, we have this. I feel like I have a small community in Indiana because I'm in West Lafayette, starting in Purdue right now. So that is one. But aside from that, the reason why I don't have any Schmoedown content in this year in particular is because honestly, I've been super busy this semester. I've been super busy in 2018. I mean, 2019. God. And 2018, I feel like I had much more free time. This is why I'm able to do reactions and everything. And I wish I could do more reactions. I wish I can, but I feel like there are so many great reactors out there. Late to the party, of course, the OG, they're still going on strong. Um, Dedicated to art with Chris Doman and Keith Cornelise, they're fantastic. Also, JTH is always doing great job. So there has been lots of Schmoedown reaction, and I always want to do something different. I initially planned to do something like beginning of this year, like who have the best signature moves, and I was thinking like, well, we got the Rachel Crush, we got Ben Batesman kiss to the camera. I cannot really think of anything else in terms of signature move. I was trying to do who's going to be the next horseman. I already did that last year. I don't want to repeat myself. So I always find kind of hard to find like additional content that has also not been written in the website, because now, as you all know, we got triviasd.com, and that website is fantastic. It's William Bibiani who did a great job running that site. And sometimes when I want to do something, I thought of an idea and I check the website. Oh, they already have something like that. Oh, you know what? Then I'll scrap that idea all alone. And luckily enough, when I checked the website earlier this week, I was like, you know what? Let's see if anyone have written ranking the five live shows. Maybe not because there's only five so far. Who will rank that? And you know what? I'll take that opportunity to rank all five live shows in this particular episode. And I might as well do it on a podcast form instead of on YouTube because I could elaborate more instead of like being on a small runtime on YouTube because I know lots of people don't like long format shows on YouTube. So I mentioned YouTube a lot, and if you're watching on YouTube, first of all, I hope you like it. This is probably the first time you won't be seeing video. It's just gonna be pictures and audio because who would want to see my face for 1 hour straight, honestly? So just enjoy the graphics that I present for you in this episode on YouTube. And if you're listening on Apple or Spotify or Podcast Anchor anywhere else, please leave a like. Please, well, I don't think there's a like on there. Leave a review and subscribe if you want to be up to date with everything the councilmen have to say. Hope you guys enjoy it. And in this episode, first of all, I'll be telling how I got into the Schmoedown. I don't know if any of you are wondering, but I feel like this is an interesting story to tell how I got into the Schmoedown. And also, finally, I'll get to the rankings halfway through the episode, maybe, or maybe even earlier than that. So let's get started. How do I get into the Schmoedown? Well, my very first Schmoedown is between Mark Baby Carrots Ellis and John the not John Dangerous Dan Morrow. I don't know. I have my iPad right there, and I have a playlist of the movie trivia Schmoedown and John Roca's faces over there. So I said John. But my first one is Baby Carrots Ellis versus Dangerous Dan Morrow. I first that is my first match ever, and the reason I watched that is it was on my YouTube like recommendations list. I'm a fan of Screen Junkies. I'm a fan of movie fights. I'm a fan of Dan Murrell. Everything he does in Screen Junkies movie fights on his trailers, I'm a huge fan of. So when I saw this, I'm like, what is this? Movie Trivia Schmoedown. I know Mark Ellis from the Screen Junkies also because he done movie fights and Screen Junkies shows. So what is this Mark Ellis versus Dan Murrell? I clicked on the video. As you all know, Schmoedown Spectacular, which is this one is 2016. Wow, that's 3 years ago in December. And it's like 2 hours long. I'm like, what is this? This is insane. Movie fights might be this long, but I don't know what this is all about. So as most people do, probably their first time watching the Schmoedown, if you're only into the movies and everything, what is all this promo and all this kind of stuff? I skip all the way to the middle to even, I skip the entrances, I believe. I just go to the match. I'm like, okay, so this is a trivia competition. Okay, let's see if I can play along. I didn't do so well. I'll just be honest. I didn't do so well the first time I played along. Some of the questions were tough. Some of them were, I know it. And honestly, I don't even recall if I watched the whole match or I skip around and just see the outcome. I just want to see Dan Murrell win. Obviously, I'm like, oh, this is okay, interesting. And I know that Schmoedown Spectacular episodes have more than one match. I honestly don't recall if I watched the Patriots versus Top 10 and Riley versus Roca. I don't think I did. Well, first of all, because I don't know Riley and Roca, I've never watched Schmoes, I've never watched Collider, never heard of them. I might have seen Roca movie fights once, but I might disregard it. And Top 10 versus Patriots, I might know JTE, but that's it. I don't know who else is in there. So I think that's it for when I first saw it. I don't think I watched Inner Geekdom much more than Spectacular 1. I didn't think I watched Strike ATC. But I was like, all right, this is kind of interesting match. I know Christian, I know Mark, they're hosting it. They're from, I saw them on Screen Junkies. So I researched what is the Schmoedown thing. I saw some of the thumbnails. I saw Jason Inman, which is a familiar face from Screen Junkies. I saw Scott Mance, which I'm also familiar with. So I watched some of those matches. I saw Brian Chandler, Stacey Howard, which I'm also somewhat familiar with all their stuff. So some of this match, and Hal Ratnick, of course, he's in the earlier incarnation of the Schmoedown. So I watched some of those stuff, and I'm like, this is kind of interesting. I started to watch a full match, started to watch the pregame and everything. I remember going back to the very first match, which is the Dan Murrell versus John Campia, and I watched the promos. And like, this is kind of stupid, but this is very entertaining. Seeing them trash talk this kind of stuff, and seeing the match go down and everything. And ever since then, I've always been invested in the Schmoedown. I've always like, this is kind of interesting, and I've always root for Dan Murrell because Screen Junkies and everything. I always see them more as the victor in movie fights, and I'm just a huge fan. I'm just astonished for how cool he is and how fantastic he is in the ring in terms of debating or just Schmoedown. And I believe I didn't watch lots of matches from the season 3, but when season 4 dropped and there's like top 10 rankings 2017, I'm like, let's see this. Who are top 10? Oh, I'm familiar with some of the faces. I started watching them avidly. I saw Hector Navarro, which I'm familiar with. And then like there is who's this William Bibiani guy. I rewatched him against Enrico. I was like, damn, this guy is pretty good. So I watched a lot of their match, and I started following the Schmoedown avidly starting season 4. I follow all the matches, and I go back to the previous season 1, 2, and 3, and I start to know Collider and Schmoes knows like their show and everything, the live show, starting from thanks to the Schmoedown. So that's how I got into the Schmoedown, and now, as you all know, I'm a huge fan. I support the Patreon. I used to make reactions. I haven't done recently, as I said earlier, but I become a huge fan, which I want to do anything possible to help this show grow because I feel like this show is something special. We've not seen this on YouTube, and the fact that they used to not do it for any money until well, the Patreons to support. I didn't say they're like in a bad way kind of thing, but this kind of show is like probably should be something on TV because it's high production value, and I always like respect this kind of stuff. But they do it on YouTube, which I feel like it deserves to be much known by more people, and more people should know this. I feel like I should support it, which I really do, which is why I joined the Patreon. And because of that, I'm a huge not because of that. I mean, like due to such a passion and everything behind it, I I start watching and everything, and now I'm going over and over in circles here. I'm sorry if you hear notification in the background. I'm recording this on the day Endgame tickets are out, and the tickets are not out in my theater recently, and my friends are all talking about it on social media. So there's a lot of notifications, and it's going nuts in my notifications. So I'm still waiting out on the tickets too, by the way. But yeah, uh, where was I? That is why I love the Schmoedown. That's how I got invested. Why I love it, the theatrics and everything. I love the personalities. Uh, and its movies are just fun, man. Movie trivia is great. And while I'm in topic of this, I just want to do short promotion. If you're from Purdue University and you're listening to this right now, somehow you find this podcast. Me and my friends run a club here called The Real Genius, which we all do Schmoedown stuff. We do movie trivia, we do entrances and everything. So if you're interested, go check it out. We have it on social media as well. But let's get back to the point here. Uh, that is how I get to the Schmoedown, and let's just get to the rankings right here. We have 5 live shows in the Movie Trivia Schmoedown as of today. The first one, as you might know, is the very first one ever in El Portal Theater. Real Rejects versus the Wildberries, and we have John Roca versus JTE. And then we have the second live show, which is the triple threat Star Wars #1 contenders match. Alex Damon, Joseph Scrimshaw, Ken Napsaw. And also we have the main event of that night, which is Charles versus Team Action. And of course, how do we forget the 5 Horsemen reveal, right? Live show number 3. We got Wait, I Know This versus Founding Fathers, the first one with Anarchy. And then we got Jason Inman versus Mark Knopik for the first title match on the live show. That was a big one. Live show number 4, which I believe is the New York live show, unless I'm missing out on something. It is Chance Ellison versus Janine the Machine. And then we got Dan Morrow versus Ethan Irwin for another title belt in the live show. And the last one, of course, the big free-for-all 40 competitors going all at it. And all those live shows are fantastic in their own rights. And once again, like I said in the beginning of the show, this is my personal ranking. You might have it differently. And if you do have it differently and you disagree, I want to hear what your rankings are. If you're watching on YouTube, tell me in the comment section below your 5 rankings between the live shows. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify, I don't know if you can leave a review on Spotify, but on Apple, I know you can. So leave a review on the Councilmen podcast. And in that review, just tell me the rankings. I will read it definitely in our next show if we got a review saying which rankings is your personal favorite. So once again, this is my personal rankings. Don't hate me for this. Well, actually, if you hate me, go ahead. I don't really care. But this is my personal ranking. And I'm gonna be ranking this based on the match itself. That's one, of course. Entrances come to play because it helps with the environment of the match, like the ambience and just how invested you get. And of course, theatrics, either in the opening, in the promo, or if there is like a scene like at the very end of it. I believe all of the live shows, except for the free for all and the very first one, have like some kind of post-credit scene, if you might say, or like just some theatrics at the end of it. So I will be ranking it based on those. Is that three categories? Maybe those three categories, and I'll also be just saying my overall thoughts on the show. All right, so those are the categories, and I will now start with the number 5 on this list, and that number 5 will be the very first live event. Now, this doesn't mean that I hate this. I love the first live event. When I first see it, I was like, damn, I really wish I could be there. I don't think Late to the Party was in this one. I believe Taylor Robinson went there. I don't think she did a reaction to it. But when I first saw this live event and how it was filmed, just the recap on Collider, they're playing. I mean, like the whole show, not seeing it live. I was like, damn, Schmoedown really does deserve to be in the live event format, and it's just epic. Well, first of all, it's a great choice having real rejects and wild berries to be out there. They're just wild and nuts, and it really pumped up the crowd. People loved them, and and the match itself was pretty good too. I believe I should have done my research. I believe Wild Berries won for the first time, I think, and it was oh, my Apple Siri just turned on. That was weird, but yeah, that was Real Jackson Wild Berries, and of course John Roca and JTE. People love John Roca. He's probably, I would say, he's the first superstar of the Schmoedown with everything in the Outlaw persona. I think is the first one. If not, Jody Riley was the first one. But Roca, he lives in this wrestling space. He lived in with theatrics. So him versus JTE was huge. People boo JTE because he's heel. He's part of Patriots, the greatest team in history, probably at least as of now. And then we got John Roca, who is people. He was a heel, but he turned into sort of a face, I believe, at this time, and so it is. He is just the number blah blah blah. I am running out of thoughts. I'm sorry. God damn, I should really turn off airplane mode. My notifications is going wild. This podcast is not going so well on my own. But anyway, John Roca was a huge star, and people were rooting for John Roca versus JTE on this one. So that is why this one is number 1. Not only because it's a great. I mean, not number 1. This one's number 5. It's great. This show, this particular this particular match, this live show was great. It had everything going on with the entrances, with the personas. The fans are behind them, rallying against the Wild Berries, screaming Wild Berries. I believe they chug beer or something. And Judge McCluga, of course, is still going for the Judge McCluga for Jeopardy at that point. So it was kind of wild. They're throwing shirts. And John Roca, I remember his entrance. He's sitting down and just like take it all in, like The Rock, and then like, "Oh no, nation!" Which was huge. It was epic. Even watching it on playback, that was fantastic. So the reason why I put this on number 5 is maybe because this is the first one, and they don't really know what to do with it yet. Because after the first one, they really take it off on another level. Either on entrances, either on promos, either on theatrics, they really took off on a way another level in production value as well. I think they're just playing around with this one. They don't know if they could really do it. So even though the match was great, and even though John Roca did a fantastic job, And while Bears also did a fantastic job and Real Rejects, JTE as well, in rallying up the crowd, I don't think they really know what they're doing just yet. So they're just playing around with it. They're still testing the waters, if you might say. And it's just like a pilot. It might be good, it might be great, but it's hard to be the very first one being the very best one. That's a tough one to do because you still don't know what you're dealing with. So despite how much I love this particular match, and trust me, I've seen this match several times, it's also for the part of this research. Uh, but this match was great. But the only reason why it's number 5, like I say, is because that particular reason. They're still testing the waters in this one. And all right, now let's go to number 4 in this list. Now, for number 4, you might disagree on me with this, but I feel like this one was a great one. This particular show, it was great for a bunch of reasons. A player returning. This is the first time we see a title on the line on a live show. And if that gave it away already, well, I'll just say it. That is the live show number 3, which is Wait I Know This versus Founding Fathers and Jason Inman versus Mara Knopic. Now, why is this number 3, you might ask? Well, if you know me personally, or if you see my YouTube videos on the Schmoedown, you know that my top 3 players in the league are Merle, Rachel, and Jason Inman. And 2 out of the 3 is playing on this live show. And how come is it only number 4 in this list? Well, one reason being, of course, belt. So that was kind of sad, even though I was happy for Lara. She's a fantastic player. It's sad that she left the Schmoedown, but I understand her reasoning, and I respect that to the fullest. But it was kind of sad seeing Dan Morrill. He's back. Of course, I love this. And this is the first time for him and teams ever seen team champs with him and Mark Riley. So it was huge. I don't know what's going on. But the reason why it's only number 4 is probably the same reason why it's the first live show is only number 5. Everything else, this list could be number 1. There's list like top 5 best live shows. It could be number 1. But the Schmoedown have been so amazing in what they're doing that the remaining 3 on the top are just way beyond better. Not only production value, in terms of the theatrics, like I said, in terms of what's on the line, in terms of the stakes, and in terms of entertainment value. And I want to talk about this one a lot because there are lots of great stuff in it. But those are the reason why it's only number 3, because the other top 3 are better. But why I love this one in particular? Well, I just begin to the very opening act. The Wait I Know This first Founding Fathers, of course, Dan Morrill, as I said earlier. I've said his name probably more in any other competitor name ever in any of my videos. He's back. I love that. Him and John Roca, of course, that is amazing team up. Wait I Know This, first of all, that's a name. That's a crazy, stupid, great name. And Coy Janro with that manager role right on the beginning, pretending to be Ian Malcolm, that was fantastic. And of course, Stacey as Ellie, and I almost say Justice Winslow, the basketball player, Winston Marshall, playing as Ellen Grant. And that was great. And of course, it was the real rejects playing as a dinosaur as they reveal it. That was a hilarious entrance. And I love that entrance. It was a fantastic entrance. That is how you do an entrance in a live show. That is great. And the Founding Fathers, they did their entrance with, of course, the 5 Horsemen, which was the first time we see them since the reveal in the 5 Horsemen reveal in live show number 2. So that was a great one. And the match, it might not be did a fantastic job. John Roca and Dan Morrill, of course, they won it. I don't believe they did by TKO, but they won it, and it doesn't go to the final question. But that first match was great. And the second match, Jason Inman versus Mara Knopic. Of course, Mara winning, that's a great one. I don't know moment from this particular match is when Jason Inman spin it from the pegs, and the pegs flew off right after Christian Harloff said, spin it from the wheels, not the pegs. So, and that hilarious moment that I found memorable. And of course, Mara's entrance was fantastic with, I still don't even remember the name. That thing from Last Crusade, the whatever the was it a cross? It was a cross of something from Last Crusade. And that was a great entrance. I don't know how she got in the first place or replica. That was cool. And I argue this to be one of the best entrants from last year, even though it doesn't get nominated in the Schmoedown Awards. It's just the impact of it and how cool it is, honestly, is Jason Inman's entrance with the Captain America and the theme by Alan Silvestri from the first Captain America movie. Him entering in the not Winter, in Infinity War outfit with the crossed out star. He got a beard and everything. He really resembles Captain America. He got the belt, which is cool. And he got his war boots that he used on the war. If you don't know, he used to be part of the military. I don't know if army or navy or anything. I don't want to mess it up, but he used to be part of the military. So that is why he has those war boots. And it's just a powerful entrance. It's fantastic. It's great. The music fits it perfectly. The costume is great. And the match, despite him losing, it goes down to the wire. I believe the last question was, I think it was a Lord of the Rings question, which is why he lost that one. But I don't think we've seen him back ever since that particular match, which I wish he will eventually. I miss Jason Inman dearly. He's a great competitor. I love his spirit. I know he's doing other stuff on the side. But that live show as a whole, and both matches are great. It went down, doesn't really went down to the wire for in the Geekdom and sort of did, but it was a great match. Like the match alone was pretty intense, but it was like the most intense match ever. And the very end of it, we got Corruption, of course, going in with Chance Allison, with Ken Knapsack. I think they still call it the Knights of Ken back then, or now it's called Corruption. But they got the whole crew standing there, and they just with the Corruption team playing at the background. And after Mara win, Mike Lanowski, of course, challenged Mara. And there was an interesting theatric. I think they're trying to replicate what they did in the previous live show. It just didn't live up that much to the hype. And that is why live show number 3 is number 4 in my list. Now, number 3 in this list, the top 3, this is the most recent one. This is the Free-for-All 3. Why is this one number 3? I'm probably going to be redundant. Same reason. The next 2 is going to be much better in terms of stakes, much better in terms of production value, much better in terms of intensity. But this one has to be one of the most entertaining one. I mean, this is the free-for-all, for God's sake. I believe the free-for-all should be done in the live setting for the next ones, definitely, because I still think the first free-for-all is the best because you never really know what's going on the first time around, and that first XX5XX, that is the craziest thing that has ever happened to the Schmoedown, one of the craziest events ever, because you really didn't see that coming. And I believe this one is the second best free-for-all, I would say. The second free-for-all would be the third in terms if I'm ranking the free-for-alls. And the reason why this is number 2 is because in terms of free-for-all, number 3 in this ranking is, like I said, free-for-all should be done in a live setting going forward. When I first heard this, I never really put in the consideration that this is going to be like a 3-hour, 4-hour show in form of a live setting and the crowd will be going tired, because I believe the Schmoedown now that I mentioned this, they're afraid that people might get tired, especially it's a 3-hour and everything, people might get bored. But when I watch a free-for-all, it doesn't look like they're bored. The crowd look nuts. They look happy every time a new player entrance. They are supporting William Bibiani going all the way. And the crowd was wild. If the main reason why free-for-all shouldn't be live is because it's the runtime and people might be bored, I say after this free-for-all, that is not the case at all, because as you see on your own, the crowd loves it, which is why free-for-all should be done in live streaming once again. But the reason this free-for-all is great, first, William Bibiani going all the way, that's crazy. That is crazy. That is unprecedented. Is that a word? English is not my first language, guys, forgive me. But that is something you've never seen before. And Bibiani also clearing the table, that was huge. Brendan Meyer being out of nowhere. And he did a fantastic job staying quiet for some time over there. And Denmoral, of course, winning. That's another personal bias for me, I guess. And if you think about it, Denmoral has been in 4 of the 5 live shows. So that's huge. And So that's quite a bias for me. Then Merle winning. JTE is back. That's a huge moment. The Jew Bear moment. That is that is one for the ages. Just like the Triceratops in the very first Schmoedown ever. And Greg Alba's entrance as until it got banned and got copyright strike because of his Star is Born entrance. His entrance was not only that he peed on his pants in the water, he acted out as drunk as possible throughout the whole round. And also at the very end, Christian, I just want to take another look at you. That I laughed my ass off during that moment. That moment was hilarious. So there's some great moments. Brienne being back for the free for all. Brad Sheridan. The crowd goes wild when the Collider Live theme song plays. Jen Kemp, which is from the fans, she played in this one, which is fantastic. Late to the party, both of them playing. They got knocked out right in the first round that they play, which is sad, but they were there, which was always a treat to see. And there's just so many competitors, which I can, of course, cannot mention one by one, but there's so many great ones. Mark Andreyko, Jeff Schneider did a pretty good job. Rachel Cushing, Paul Oyama and Mike Kalinowski and Kevin Smets had a rivalry going on, which was fun to see. So the live show, the free for all, they got it all. They got everything going on for them, and it was fun. It's just that due to the natural, the natural format of the Shmoedown, I guess, which you have the opening monologue, well, not monologue, like the promo, the trash talk, and then the ending, the interview, which we do have that. But the show probably since it's quite long, and they don't have time for the post credit scene, which I totally respect, and we totally doesn't need that because I don't think we ever got like a post credit scene in any of the free for alls. But despite how good it's entertaining it is, once again, I'm just gonna repeat the next two is gonna be. It means so much more in terms of a personal level for me. In terms of entertainment value, it just so much. It means so much more. And the free for all, I compare this to the NBA because I watch NBA. This feels like the All-Star game, where all the greatest players in the world, in the elite, basically, play in one field. They play for fun. This is like an exhibition match, and not much is on the line. Not none of their records are on the line. They might get extra benefits. Like if you win this, the MVP got a number of contender match. If the winner, they got a championship match, and like the All Star, the winner gets to donate, and they also get some cash in return. So it feels like an exhibition match where the best in the world are playing here. But due to that, sometimes you don't feel the stakes on the line. Sometimes you don't feel like you need to be as invested as the others. You might get entertained, like seeing the clearing the table and seeing who's going to enter. But due to that nature, also you don't get the investment that you get as much when you're watching a title match, let's say. So that is why it's only number 3 on this list. That's a free for all. Now, number 2 on this list, maybe you might have guessed number 1, but not, I'm just going to say this for number 2 on this list is going to be live event number 4 in New York. Several reasons. First, being in New York, the crowd is different. The environment I can feel is different. The look of it is also different, which is I guess it's more interesting because the first 2 live shows has been the same setting. The first 3 live shows have been the same theater. So this one being different is pretty neat to watch. And the matchups itself are fantastic, both singles matchups, which this is my personal opinion. I feel like if Schmoedown were to do multiple match in a day, having more than one leagues like what they've been doing, except for this one, would be the best choice. But hey, Schmoedown do what they do best. This one is still entertaining because Chance Ellis versus Janine the Machine, they got rivalry going on, and the match was great down to the wire. I was rooting for Janine, and of course she lost in that very last question, and Chance wins it. But I'm happy for Chance. He's from the fan leagues. Also, he's proven himself. I don't even feel like I should be calling him from the fan leagues because I feel like he belongs in the Shmoedown right now. And that match alone was pretty fantastic, going down to the wire. And of course, we got the trash talk and the entrance in the beginning, which was great. And also, I would say the reason why this is number 2, first of all, is the personal stakes is on the line. Then moral title match, it meant a huge lot for me. And also, I'm not gonna get to the Dan Morrell at an Irwin match first. I'm gonna get to the Ben Bateman at the very end, talking smack about Andrew Guy. That was a kind of a cool reveal, especially since they're challenging him. It's official now that they're gonna have Civil War. Heck, even the Houston live show is going to be seeing Ben Bateman versus Andrew Guy. I wish I lived closer to Houston because I want to see that live show. But hey, I'm going to be in the live show in Chicago. So you guys, any of you guys are going there, hope to meet you guys out there. But this particular one, there was a great ending to the match. And now let's talk about Dan Morrell, Ethan Irwin, and how much it meant to me. That's probably the reason why it's so high. It it meant a huge lot to me that Dan Morrell is in another title match after that devastating loss against Andrew Guy, which no one saw coming. Let's face the fact. Who saw that coming that Dan Morrell was gonna lose to Andrew Guy? So when he went on his journey back in the singles title match in the tournament, all the way to him facing Ethan Irwin in the live show in the live setting, that was huge. There was a huge build-up. And the fact that he won in the final question, Ethan Irwin missing the Simpsons question, which was quite difficult, in my personal opinion as well. He missed it, of course. And then Morrell winning. The crowd went nuts. And the best thing about it is when the crowd start chanting, "You deserve it, you deserve it." And then Morrell started crying. That I was already happy. I was cheering. I was watching my friend. We were watching it live. So I was so happy. I jumped up on my seat. I was really happy for Morrell. And when they started chanting, "You deserve it," then Morrell was crying. And I started getting emotional because how much I was invested in the show since the very first place. And how much I've uh, root for Dan Morrell since the very first time he win that he defended that belt against Ellis, and I've seen him winning the belt, and he lost the belt to Roca, and he win it back in a triple threat, and he lost it to Harloff, and him retiring. Him retiring is probably one of the most painful moments to see because I miss him dearly in the league, and once he returned back in the, which I'm going to talk about in the upcoming number one in this list. But this has to be one of the greatest moments in terms of fans and Schmoedown player interaction because Dan got emotional in that interview. The fans love him. The fans say, "You deserve it." Him going to New York, which I know he loves New York, and me just watching right there with my friend and watching it live, seeing Dan Morrell wins it back, and people chanting and him getting emotional. That is huge for me. It's it's a great moment that I know Dan will always remember for the rest of his lifetime. Him winning back the title, especially due to all his struggles in the last few matches in the Schmoedown. And also not to mention the controversy with the team match during the tournament, the Anarchy tournament. So him winning this back is like, damn, all this hard work and he finally pays off. It's a huge moment for him. And I'm just so happy to see him win. I'm so happy to see him being the first time, three-time winner. And it's it's just it have a personal impact on me. And that is why it's number 2 on this list. That whole show building up to Dan Morrell winning, the fans going nuts, it was fantastic, and that's why it's number 2 on this list. And you might have guessed it, honestly. I don't think anyone would argue. Maybe you would argue differently, honestly. If you argue differently, I want to hear it. Tell me in the review. Tell me in the comment section below if you're watching on YouTube. If you think that the live show number 2 was number 1 in the first place all along, or you think differently. But I feel like this is hands down this is like no-brainer winner. And not only because of the match, both match are number 1 contender match. Wait, is it? No, the Shadow Wolf was not number 1 contenders, but the Star Wars match was number 1 contenders match. The Shadow Wolf match was huge on its own right, but that ending alone like propels it to the top. But let's get to the Star Wars match first. Triple threat live show. We've never seen that before because, of course, it's the second time around. This is Star Wars match. People love the Star Wars division. And we got 3 huge names: Alex Damon, Joseph Grimshaw, Ken Napzok. I was rooting for Ken Napzok. When he's the first one out, I was stunned. I was shocked. I don't know if people were rooting for Ken Napzok as well, but he was probably the most prominent name because he was a former champion and he's the most prominent in terms of Schmoedown community and Collider and Schmoes. So maybe people were rooting for Ken Napzok, and when he lost, people go nuts. But it was huge. I didn't expect to see that at all. And Alex Damon winning was big as well. And that is even though that's the undercard, I feel like that could be a main title match at any given day. and the Charles match versus Team Action. Now, this I believe this is the first time Team Action returned after they defeat DC Movie News. But I think they challenged the Shirewolves way before they defeat DC Movie News. They challenged us online, and I think Christian Harloff, the commissioner at that point, now the chairman, he's like, "Oh, you know what? I'll make this happen. I'll make you guys play the Shirewolves in the live setting." Which I was so pumped when I heard this. I'm like, "This is perfect. I love the Shirewolves. They're my favorite team right now, aside from Founding Fathers." And Team Action is also one of my top 10, not top, well, it's probably higher up there because I just love their personalities and I love their interaction as each other. It sucks that they have civil war, but I love that they're having civil war now because just their personalities and egos and everything. Ah, so good. Schmoedown, fantastic. But Team Action versus Sharples was probably one of the best match of the year last year. I think it got nominated for best match, might be not, I forget. But the entrance alone by Team Action with the lights and everything, that's pretty cool. The trash talk in the beginning. And of course, this is the Five Club. Man, I miss the Five Club. And their entrance with the Fight Club entrance throwing the soap. I don't know if they actually throw real soap, because if you missed it and it hit you in the head, that might hurt. But it was pretty cool. They say rules to Five Club and everything like that. And of course, Rachel Cushing and Clark Wolf, who don't love them. And them winning was amazing. And the controversy, of course, I remember the controversy because like I think this the Giancarlo Esposito Stanton kind of thing, that was a controversy, and they changed the question. And apparently Andrew Guy know the answer, but then Ben Bateman rushed into an answer. That's why they lost. But despite the controversy, it was a great one. And another reason why I would say this is higher up in this list is because I think this is the first time Late to the Party did their vlog for the live show. I always watch Late to the Party's vlog because they're great. If you don't know who they are, they're OG photo reactors. They make reaction content. So I'm shouting you out, Late to the Party. Go check out their channel. They are great. Um, and in their where was I lose track? Yeah, they make the vlog, and it was so nuts. The crowd went nuts when they win, and the post game interview, it was fantastic too. But of course, the main reason why this is number one, I think this is the main reason why. Yeah, I believe this is the main reason why I put this at number one. Is that ending moment. Once they finished the interview with Sharon Wolves, of course, and the guy comes on the stage talking trash. I did a reaction video for this one. If you have to check it out, go check it out. He was talking trash, and I was like, get off the stage, Andrew Guy, you lost. Stop making fun of them. And then he's like, Dan Morrill, where is he? He's the GOAT, greatest of all time. And Ben Bateman cosplays Dan Morrill. I was pissed in that reaction video because I'm like, God damn it, stop disrespecting my favorite player of all time. I know he retired. At this point, I didn't know he was back. Like, who knows he was back at all? So when they start talking trash about Dan Morrill, I'm like, God damn it, just get this over with. What are they trying to do? And then like the music start playing, and I remember Andrew Guy saying, "Are you playing me off?" And I'm like, what is going on? It starts to go black. The music starts building up. It starts to go black, and then the reveal of the Horseman. I'm saying this right now, and I have goose. My hair and my arm are sticking out. I have chills thinking about it. Even that reveal was the greatest, hands down, the best thing that has ever happened to the Schmoedown, the greatest event ever in the Schmoedown, the greatest scene, everything. It was crazy. Not only because the music and the performance and how they did it. This will only work in a live show. This will not work on a stage setting like in their studio. This is because the crowd went nuts. This is because no one expected this coming, and this is because the fans love it. When they first revealed the Four Horsemen in a cloak, first one, John Roca, of course, they go wild. They know he's the face of the Four Horsemen. And then Matt knows. People know that. And then Jason Inman. I has been calling that Jason Inman should be part of it. I went nuts when Jason Inman was in there. In my reaction video, you can see it once again. I went nuts when Inman was there. And then they had to top it all off with Mark Riley, which is a legend. And of course, the crowd will love Mark Riley. And of course, they never see it coming that he's going to be returning. And teaming up with Roca, out of everyone, teaming up with Roca in his return, that is huge. And if you think that's not huge enough, it goes back to Black, the Shining, the score from the Shining plays, and then of course Dan Merle, the dangerous one, the greatest of all time. He is there. He is now part of the Five Horsemen. Inman knows Roka, Riley, Merle. That has to be the greatest on paper. That has been the greatest faction ever. They haven't they haven't done the best on like performing wise. I will say Five Club was still the best in performance as a faction, but on paper this one was huge. This people love this. It's three legends. A current champion at that point in Inman, and of course Matt knows part of top 10, which was great. It was a huge moment. If you watch like to the Paris reaction video, the crowd went nuts. If you watch my reaction video, I lose my mind. Take three did a great reaction video. Kearns loses his mind when Riley was there. Finally tailored that one. And despite because how huge it is, I had the feeling that I feel like I should do a compilation because I actually did a compilation. If you see my channel, it was one of my most viewed one, I believe. I made a compilation of reactions of all the different reactors. JTH was in there, finally Taylor. Late to the party, take three, myself, of course, I gotta put myself in there. Chris Woodward. And everyone lost their minds, lost their marbles when the reveal. It is something we've never seen before. And of course, him challenging Andrew Guy in the collision. We never see that coming, and that is just something that people would never thought of going to happen ever in a live show, and I don't think we're gonna be able to repeat that ever. Like, think about it. What kind of reveal will be huge enough to make this huge? The only thing I could think of is probably if Sam Levine returns or some way or another, but there's commissioner right now, so that's not possible. It's three legends in Roka, Riley, and Merle. Two of them returning from retirement. So you never see that coming. And the best of faction together. That's another reason why it's so intense and so amazing in its own right. So yeah, that is just the reason why it's number one. I really don't know how you could not put this number one. If in terms of moments, this number one. Maybe you could rank if terms of best live shows. Maybe you could argue otherwise that the whole live show does not live up except for that last ending scene. But the whole life, I feel like, once again, my personal opinion, Star Wars team action was a great match. The Star Wars match was fantastic. But this particular moment propels it over the other by huge margin. So that is my top 5 list. Once again, I'll repeat. Live event number 1, the JT Roka Wild Berries Real Rejects. Number 4, live event number 3, Wait, I Know This, and then Inman Marconopic. Ranking number 3, Free4ALL 3. Demerol winning, Willem Bibiani MVP. Ranking number 2, live event number 4, on New York, which is Demerol winning from Ethan Irwin, and of course Chance Ellison winning against Jenny the Machine. And live event number 2, Charles winning against Team Action, Alex Damon winning against Snapstock and Scrimshaw, and of course the 5 Horsemen reveal, which is one of the greatest moments in on history, hands down. So that is my ranking. What is your ranking, guys? I can't believe I did quite over 30 minutes, I believe, doing this, ranting on my own. This is kind of tough, but this is kind of fun. I might do this again if you guys enjoy this kind of stuff. I'm planning to do once a month a Schmoedown in my Councilmen podcast, a Schmoedown topic, because I really want to be back in the Schmoedown community. I feel like I've been passive, even though I've been watching it, and I've been a massive supporter. I feel like I'm missing out by not creating content and putting out there about the Schmoedown. So I want to, if you guys enjoy this, I might do it. I probably will. Once a month, I'll do something about Schmoedown related in the Councilmen podcast, or maybe in my channel. Who knows? I'll still think about it. But yeah, guys, if you enjoy this one, tell me once again in the review what are your ranking, and if you're in YouTube, tell me in the comment section. And subscribe both in YouTube, Apple, Spotify, whatsoever, to the Councilmen podcast. And like I said earlier in the show, I'm going to be teasing what's going to be the next episode. Next episode is going to be released the Saturday of the Star Wars celebration, which I believe is the 12th. And guess what huge TV show is dropping on the Monday? Game of Thrones. And yes, I've been binging Game of Thrones in January, and so I'm gonna do a Game of Thrones episode with Arik. He watched Game of Thrones. We're the only two councilmen who watch it, so we're gonna do predictions and everything for season 8, the final season. Oh, the show is so good, guys. Honestly, if you've never seen it, go watch it. But if you want to know, if you don't want to miss out on that Game of Thrones speculation, subscribe to the podcast channel right here, so you don't miss out. And when the new episodes drop, you will get notified. So yeah, guys, thank you for listening. And you stick around all this time until the very end. Hopefully you guys enjoy this and you don't find me ranting on my own annoying. And please share this with your friends. So let the people know about Schmoedown, let the people know about the Councilmen podcast. I would highly appreciate this. And you could find me on social media, J.A. Bradharma, Twitter and Instagram. You could subscribe to me on my YouTube channel, Jaw Movies, where I do movie reviews, trailer reaction, and like I said in the beginning of the show, occasionally Schmoedown podcast, but honestly I haven't done much in a while. But hopefully that will be not the case anytime soon, because I want to be back in the community, and I'm going to Star Wars Celebration Chicago and also Schmoedown live in Chicago. So hopefully I can get to meet you guys there. So yeah, guys, like how Calvin usually says it, thank you for watching. Follow all of us online, subscribe, and the council has spoken.